was, I don't even know how I started thinking about this. Oh, I know how. I was thinking about, okay. I'm not going to say what I was thinking about, but what it ended up branching off into was me thinking about how when a beautiful woman, or a good-looking man for that matter, beautiful people, when a good-looking person has a good job, a lot of people will just assume they got the job because of their good looks, and they won't necessarily get the respect they deserve for the position that they hold. And there's some truth to that, of course, because if you have two people who are equally qualified and one is good looking and one is not, who are you going to give the job to? Of course, the good looking person. If you have two almost equal people, like maybe an ugly person and a good looking person, and the ugly person is better qualified, who are you going to give the job to? Probably still the good looking person, especially if you have to work with that person on a daily basis. You know, maybe they're not as qualified, but they're still qualified. You know, like they're both qualified, but one's more qualified. You'll still give the job to the good-looking person. So a lot of people, when they're good-looking, they get less respect for whatever job they do, because people will assume that they got it because of their looks, which is not necessarily untrue. And then. And the opposite is, of course, true as well. If you got like a really ugly person who has a job with beautiful people, or a job where everyone else is like, average looking or above, you think to yourself, how did he get that job? He must be really smart, or he must be a really interesting person to be able to work here looking like that. And then you give him like extra respect before you even talk to the guy. So ugly people, they get like added respect, and then beautiful people less so. And another downfall of being good looking, and I never really saw this much myself, but I had a best friend of mine when I was growing up. His name was Odeda McNeil. Really cool guy. He was a cool, pretty humble guy when he was younger, but he was extremely good looking, and and a perfect body. When he was like 14 years old, he was getting carded when he would take the bus. Like when he would get on the bus when he was like 14, they wouldn't believe that he was under 18, so they would try to charge him adult fares. He was like, 14 years old. He was like 6'2" and had the body of like an Olympic swimmer. Anyways, but it was funny because like at the time I was actually in junior high. I was very unpopular, and he was like not just the most popular guy in our school. He was like one of the most popular guys in the city, and he was a good friend of mine. Hung around regularly. So that was a little claim to fame when I was younger, and but it was interesting because he would say to me, this guy is so nice, and I'm like, that guy's not nice. He's a complete fucking psychotic asshole. And he's like, what are you talking about? He was really nice to me, and I'm like, everybody's fucking nice to you. You're Odeda, like it's like he had no clue who was nice and who wasn't, because everyone worshipped him. And that's the problem that, good-looking guys, they don't care if women worshiping them is fake or not so much, But for women, it's a big problem, because when you got a beautiful woman, she'll meet like some guy who will treat her really well, and he will treat her well for like weeks on end, and she thinks, wow, what a sweet guy. But it's all fake. It's just an act, because she's gorgeous and he just wants some of that, It's like, and it's I really feel sorry for beautiful women in that sense, because they can go their whole life not knowing if any of the male people in their lives are real or fake. Like, they don't know if everyone all their male friends are just acting, or how much of the personality is real. And so it's hard. Like if a girl was like average looking, and she met a guy and he was really sweet and nice and treated her really well, and yeah, that's probably that's just an honestly nice guy. But if you're a beautiful girl and you meet a guy and he treats you really well, that's because you're beautiful. It's not because he's nice. One of the worst examples of guys being fake for attractive women is women with large breasts. I'll tell you who even more cursed than the beautiful woman is the average looking woman with a large chest. These women have it so bad because they're so confused. They got all these guys that treat them really nice and are really sweet to them, and all these guys, good-looking guys that are attracted to them, and that makes them believe that they themselves are good-looking. Wow, he's really good-looking and he likes me, so I must be good-looking. But in actuality, he just wants your chest. That's it. That's it. Like, he wants your breast. He wants to have some fun with a large-breasted girl, and he wants to have some fun with as many as he can find. And you just happen to be one. And then the poor girl gets like, her self-esteem is so askewed because on one hand, she thinks she's like good looking when she's not. And then she tries to get all these good looking guys, which are technically out of her league. But she can still get them because she's got a big chest. But she can only get them for like a day or two. So then she starts to think, what's wrong with my personality? Like, why is it that I can't keep a boyfriend? Well, the reason you can't keep a boyfriend is because you're not actually good looking to begin with. You just got a big chest, and the girls they don't comprehend that. I don't know. I met a couple of smart girls when I was younger in Winnipeg. There's a couple of smart girls that I knew, and this one girl she was good looking, pretty girl, and she that guy waved to me, but it was like a really slow, hesitating wave because I think my hair was freaking him out. I got the mohawk on, and you could see him kind of like waving, but he was kind of like, what the fuck's on that guy's head? Yeah, I knew a really pretty girl back in Canada, and she had a really big chest, but she was a really smart girl. She was really pretty and really smart, had a good personality. And you know what she used to do? She used to bind her chest. She would wear like she would I don't know, like some kind of cloth, some kind of sports elasticy cloth, and she would wrap it around her chest, and then she'd use these clips to hold it in place, and she would bind her chest so that it was like half the size it actually was, and it still was an okay size. But the point, she just didn't want any guys hitting on her for her chest ever, and that was smart. That's because she was a smart girl, and she understood. She was already pretty with a good personality, so she didn't have any problems meeting guys. She didn't need the extra superficial, pathetic help of an over-exaggerated chest. So she used to bind it. I bind you, demon. So, yep. So it's kind of, yeah, I think it's fairly interesting. But yeah, I honestly do pity. Like, sometimes I really do pity them. I'm not joking about that. Like, sometimes I'll see like a young girl, like 12, 13-year-old girl, and she's already got like a C cup, and I'm like, fuck, that poor girl. Like, that's horrible. That's like, she's fucked for life. Like, that's horrible. Like, if they should almost do cosmetic surgery. Oh, hey, I was talking with those guys. They almost. Well, I pulled over a couple times. I pulled over to get the camera out, so they shouldn't be too proud of the fact they caught up with me. So yeah, actually, I bet you they're